Bollywood. I mean, there are enough men who have what they call more than one wife. And, you know, while you're expressing a lot of outrage, I don't know that you feel that Hema Malini has no rights from Dharmendra, or Mr. Karunanidhi's 3 partners don't have rights from them.
Or Sridevi.
Think about it, or Sridevi. I mean, our society is replete actually with examples which would technically be considered as bigamous relationships and therefore not be recognized, but they are long-standing relationships lasted for years. Kabir?
Yeah, there are many such relationships. You know, we have many lawyers sitting here. Is adultery a crime under Indian law?
It is.
It is.
But only against the man, not the woman.
Adultery is a crime. Therefore, you are asking somebody who has been partners in crime with the man to be compensated with financial...
No. In criminal law, an Indian woman can never be prosecuted for adultery. Because that is again an archaic Victorian law. The principle is you should not dishonor the marital bed.
But Kabir, the phrase that you use, partners in crime. Are we going to and you're telling me that you now believe that to fall in love or lust or whatever individual choice that a person makes should now have the state legislated?
No. I'm saying to you very simply that 2 people who enter into a relationship, it creates a certain compact of sorts. That as per the law as it stands, if a man is committing a crime by being adulterous, you know, then you're saying that he has to pay on top of that because he's committing a crime and his partner is not his partner in crime?
Well, I just find it problematic. Let's get I mean, it may be the law, but I mean, I hope that this law is never actually used to legislate against people.
I think we're really limiting our understanding of cohabitation in this country. If you're talking about law in this country, we've got to look at the diverse kinds of cohabitation in this country, many of which are bigamous. In fact, customarily, many of which are bigamous. There's Nata Pratha, which is vibrant amongst lower caste communities in Rajasthan. There's Maitri Karar, which is vibrant amongst upper caste Hindus in Gujarat. And amongst migrants, because today in the 21st century, we are seeing the largest human migration than we've ever seen before. And they're setting up second homes. These are not your modern people. Customarily, we have many forms of cohabitation which are bigamous. We've got to recognize our social reality and advance justice in those contexts.
Now,
I don't think we can talk
Can I ask you a question? When Khushbu and Sonal Mansingh made the point that we should be self-reliant, and obviously many women can't be. I could see you expressing some skepticism that income-earning women should forego alimony. Why is that?
See, I don't think the question is really relevant or pertinent whether income-earning women should forego alimony. Our laws do not recognize the value of domestic work. We don't have community of property. When people build a house together, they put in different resources. Maintenance is as archaic as the word keep, but we use it because that's an instrumental tool. That's the only way.
I feel horrible being maintained by.
Well, that's the only way the law will give you any money. That's the only way the law will give you any money. We can't get the legislator to reform laws relating to women very easily. So we still continue to use a very archaic word, maintenance, which is very much like the word keep. And women are not being maintained here. Women have contributed to that household, and finding this little provision of law as the only channel to get alimony or to get resources.
Maintenance. Why can't it be shared?
It is community of property. I'm saying that since we do not have community of property, let women try and get whatever they've contributed, even if it's a fraction of what they've contributed, because that's the only door that the law gives them.
And I'm saying, does every woman need that?
When we look at a legal provision, we look at the principle behind it. We're not saying should A get it or should B get it. Now, A and B might feel they don't want it. That's their choice. But it's actually, the way we see it, is that's the only way we can introduce the idea of community of property. She is looked after and maintained that household for as many
but the fact is that class determines experiences in very many different ways, and let's just hear from somebody who may not have the privileges as we have. सोनवती जी, आप के 8 बच्चे हैं, आप दिल्ली में कहाँ क्या काम करती हैं?
मैं दिल्ली में मालिश करती हूँ।
मालिश वाली हैं।
हाँ जी।
और आपके जो पति थे
हाँ जी।
वो आपको काफी साल पहले छोड़ गए क्या?
हाँ 20 साल हो गए, 10 साल तक तो सही रहे, बच्चों की शादी मैं नहीं करी है। खर्चा पानी देते नहीं है तो ऐसे पति का क्या फायदा मेरे को। अब खर्चा पानी दे में जब ना खर्चा पानी में तो इससे तो छोड़ नहीं चाहती, तलाक मिले वो अच्छा, मेरे को खर्चा पानी दे में।
और वो कभी कभी वापस आते हैं आपसे?
कभी आते हैं, जैसे महीना 4 महीने में 2-4 दिन को आए, झगड़ा करते हैं, मारकूट करते हैं, भाग जाते हैं, उल्टा किराया दो तो क्या फायदा मुझे ऐसे पति को।
और सारी 8 बच्चों का देखभाल आप?
मैंने करा, सबको पता, सब मैंने करा।
तो आपने कभी सोचा कि मैं इनको छोड़ दूं?
सोचती तो बतेरा हूँ, पर समाज में जो लगता रिश्तेदार हैं क्या मेरे को सोचेंगे, इतनी उम्र आ गई, इतनी मुसीबत उठाई है, ऐसा कर रहे हैं इस उम्र में। सोचती तो बहुत कुछ हूँ, पर सोचना क्या, छोड़ने में फायदा, जब कुछ मिलता नहीं तो बेकार।
तो आए तब आप उन दरवाजा बंद कर दो ना उनके मुंह पे।
दरवाजा बंद कर दो, मारता।
आप नहीं झाड़ू उठाते?
अरे झाड़ू क्या उठाना, खुद
8 बच्चे हैं, 8 और आप इकट्ठे हो जाओ।
But this is the truth. This is the reality of the mass.
Just one second, Barka, this was one of the objectives of Domestic Violence Act. Because under a previous law, you had to file a divorce case to get relief. Under the Domestic Violence Act, for the first time, like she says, there's a stigma to get divorced. So don't get divorced. Go under the Domestic Violence Act, get a restraining order. That was the objective of the law, and she could have accessed that law.
But
how would she know?
But yeah, the thing is that access to justice for people who live on the margins is so complicated that it becomes complicated. In Kamal Farooqui, I come back to you, and I'm hoping for a more sensitive response. If Sonmati were Muslim and she were married to a man and then he went and married somebody else, and what I'm trying to say is this happens all the time, especially when you look at migrating labor. Any number of us have help at our homes, and I'm pretty sure that they have one partner in the city they work in and a wife somewhere back in the village. Now the question that this judgment raises is, should both women not be entitled to some basic rights?
But as far as this honorable lady is concerned, her case is absolutely different. Her case is that the husband keeps on beating her and does not take care of it.
Yeah.
She's a legitimate wife.
Legitimate wife कौन determine करता है?
Law करता है. All these relationships which you are talking about
are illegitimate.
All which we are talking about,
But sir, this
these
is
are
right.
not acceptable
पर
to us,
जिंदगी
and
में
these are
सब कुछ
against.
कानून देख के नहीं होता.
होना चाहिए. That is what
होना चाहिए.
that is what actually is the case. We are living in a civilized society.
So many hands. Let's get a question here. Then Sona Khan. Yes.
It's all right for a man to seek comfort in another person's arms when he has a wife.
Yeah.
But it's not okay for a woman to express herself.
That's
It's not
absolute-
okay for a
both the
woman
things are not
to turn
acceptable.
around and say it doesn't matter that you...
And Jayant, this is the problem. Let's not get stuck. Let's move on. This is the problem with the judgment, that it actually implies a sort of social sanction for a man to have a woman on the side whom he may even finance, but for that woman to have no rights at all.
And beat her.
Well, this point came up. This point came up during the hearing.
Yeah.
And one of the judges asked this question. What if the man is living on a pension which is just sufficient for him and his wife?
Yeah.
And now he has to give maintenance to the second woman also. Does that not dilute the wife's rights?
Who asked him to go to the second
Point is,
It's a very valid question.
they also say in the judgment that we realize that this will cut out several women from getting maintenance, even those who may be deserving, but for that you have to amend the law. We can only interpret the law as it is. Now, two things that I want to say is that you must liberalize the law relating to divorce. Right now it exists on the fault theory. You can get a divorce only if your partner is guilty of adultery, desertion, etc. But what if he doesn't agree or she doesn't agree? Therefore you must make divorce laws more liberal, in which case you can marry the second woman. But till such time as you amend the divorce laws, you can't bring in the rights of the second woman by a side wind like this. And that's what they say in the judgment. We recognize.
So the man has the right to have a dalliance with the second woman, as you call her, but the second woman has no rights.
The second woman should then get into it under a contract if she wants to protect her rights, because until the law is amended,
That contract would be void as opposed to public policy. Section 22
If the man...
But here's what I want to ask. This goes, Madhu, I'll come to you. It goes against the psychology of how relationships, affairs, whatever you want to call them, unfold. Kabir, I mean, and in the West this is happening. There are prenuptial contracts, there's the whole issue of palimony which is applied in different states, and in some cases the courts have said get into a contract. They've actually said that. But can you see people doing this?
See, I think the concept of palimony or prenuptial, etc. is there, but there's still a social discrimination when it comes to a man seeking alimony from a woman. In the case, when you took the case of Sylvester Stallone, who was together with an actress called Bridget Nielsen, and she was with him for 2-3 years, and eventually they separated, and she claimed palimony, walked away with a couple of $1 million. Everyone said, well done girl, atta girl, fantastic, he deserved it, 2-3 years with him. Then Joan Collins, who was this actress in Dynasty, very well known, extremely wealthy, had this man in her life. He sued for palimony. What kind of man he is? A leech, bloodsucker, his ass there is no social equity here. There are still stereotypes that exist in our mind.
Is there a hypocrisy? Because there is the Sonwati ki kahani, but there is also the Joan Collins ki kahani.
What I say is we are talking about law, but when you look at the story of the lady behind me, and most of the Hindus, or when we look into the Indian culture, none of us get into that actual prenuptial agreement, contract. Neither the marriage is, only now we talk about getting into registering the marriages, or if it's an intercaste marriage, we talk about marriage in special act. But I'm saying most of them, we still believed in the ek chutki sindoor. Most of them believed in, I think most of the marriage was done.
Among us there is no sindoor findoor.
नहीं, वो तो dialogue था, लेकिन मैं कह रही हूँ that is how dialogue था. Seriously, most of them, that is how they were married. I mean, when you look at our ancestors, you tell them, okay, produce that the agreement saying that you were married, produce the document saying that you're actually married to each other. Nobody would have them. Even my mom doesn't have it. I mean,
I've got people waiting and lots of hands in the audience, and we're almost at the end of time.
Why does a Hindu wife ask for the same husband for 7 births? Because all the training he has been given should not go waste.